The restaurant buzzed with activity as waiters darted between tables, carrying trays laden with steaming dishes. Among them was Jack, a young man in his early 20s with a warm smile and a heart that always seemed to put others before himself. Jack worked long hours not just to support his own dreams but to care for his ailing mother back home. That evening, an elderly woman entered the restaurant, her presence commanding quiet respect. Dressed in simple but elegant clothes, she carried herself with dignity. Jack noticed her hesitation as she scanned the menu, her fingers lingering on items priced higher than the rest. She appeared conflicted, as if trying to calculate her budget. Jack approached her table with his usual cheerful demeanor. "Good evening, ma'am. Can I help you with anything?" The woman looked up, her kind eyes betraying a hint of embarrassment. "Oh, I'm fine, thank you. Just deciding." Jack had seen this look before. The struggle of someone trying to balance their desires with their means. He stepped back, but kept a discreet watch as she finally settled on a modest soup and bread. As her meal arrived, Jack overheard another waiter whisper, "Do you know who that is? That's May Musk, Elon Musk's mother." Jack's eyes widened. He couldn't believe it. Yet as he watched her quietly eat her meal, he realized she didn't carry the air of someone used to special treatment. She seemed grounded, almost humble. When it came time for her bill, Jack made a split-second decision. Without telling anyone, he paid for it himself. He approached her table with the receipt in hand. "Ma'am," he said gently, "your meal has been taken care of." "Thank you for visiting." May looked up in surprise. "Taken care of? By whom?" Jack smiled. "Just a gesture of gratitude for all you've contributed to the world." For a moment she was speechless. Then her lips curved into a warm smile. "That's very kind of you, young man. What's your name?" "Jack," he replied. "Well, Jack, you have a good heart. Thank you." She left shortly after, leaving Jack feeling like he had done something meaningful. Little did he know his act of kindness would soon have unimaginable consequences. As May Musk walked out of the restaurant, Jack returned to his duties, feeling a sense of quiet satisfaction. However, his good deed hadn't gone unnoticed. The restaurant owner, Mr. Carter, a stout, stern man with a reputation for prioritizing profits above all else, had been watching from his office. Jack was called to the back moments later. The kitchen's bustling noise faded as he entered the owner's office, where Mr. Carter sat behind his desk, his face a mask of disapproval. "Jack," Mr. Carter began, his voice low but sharp, "I heard you paid for that customer's bill. Is that true?" "Yes, sir," Jack replied, keeping his tone steady. "And why would you do something like that?" "She seemed like a wonderful person, and it felt like the right thing to do," Jack explained. "It was just one meal, sir. I covered it myself." Mr. Carter's expression darkened. "We don't run a charity here, Jack. That woman could afford her meal, and now you've set a dangerous precedent. What if other customers expect the same treatment? Do you think this is how a business operates?" Jack's heart sank. "I didn't mean to cause any trouble, sir. I just wanted to show some kindness." "Kindness doesn't pay the bills," Mr. Carter snapped. "This is your last warning. Step out of line again, and you're out." Jack returned to the dining area, his mood dampened. He didn't regret his actions, but he couldn't shake the feeling of unease. The next day, Jack arrived at work, ready to put the incident behind him. However, as the lunch rush began, Mr. Carter confronted him in front of the entire staff. "Jack," he barked, holding up a piece of paper, "I reviewed last night's receipts, and it turns out you've been giving away more than just one meal. This is unacceptable." Jack froze. "What? That's not true. I've never—" "I don't care for excuses," Mr. Carter interrupted. "You're fired. Pack up your things." The other employees looked on in shock as Jack, stunned and humiliated, removed his apron and walked out. As he left the restaurant, he couldn't help but wonder if he had made the wrong choice. Little did Jack know, his act of kindness had set off a chain of events that would soon change his life forever. 2 days after being fired, Jack sat on the worn-out couch in his small apartment, staring blankly at the bills scattered on the table. His savings were meager, and without a steady income, the future seemed bleak. As he contemplated his next steps, his phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. Hesitant but curious, he answered. "Hello." "Hi, is this Jack?" a warm, familiar voice asked. Yes, speaking. Who's this? This is May Musk. We met at the restaurant a few nights ago. Jack sat up, his heart racing. Oh, Mrs. Musk, how can I help you? Well, I've been thinking about what you did for me. It was such a kind gesture, and I wanted to thank you again. But when I called the restaurant, they told me you no longer work there. May I ask what happened? Jack hesitated, not wanting to come across as bitter. It's nothing, ma'am. The owner wasn't happy with me paying for your meal, so he let me go. There was a brief pause before May spoke again, her tone sharper now. That's unacceptable. You were punished for being kind? It's okay, Jack replied. I'll figure something out. But May wasn't satisfied. No, Jack, you shouldn't have to figure this out alone. Can you meet me for coffee tomorrow? I'd like to discuss something. Jack agreed, still unsure why she would take such an interest in him. The next morning, Jack arrived at a quiet cafe May had suggested. She greeted him warmly and wasted no time getting to the point. Jack, she began, I've told my son Elon about what happened. He was just as appalled as I was, and well, he'd like to meet you. Jack's eyes widened. Elon Musk wants to meet me? Why? You'll have to ask him yourself, May said with a smile. But trust me, Jack, this is the beginning of something extraordinary. The following day, Jack found himself standing outside the headquarters of Tesla, his palms sweaty and heart racing. He had never imagined he would be meeting one of the most influential figures in the world. A security guard escorted him inside, and soon he was seated in a sleek conference room, nervously fidgeting with his hands. Moments later, the door opened, and Elon Musk walked in, exuding his characteristic blend of calm and intensity. Jack stood, unsure whether to shake hands or remain still. Elon Musk, Elon said, extending a hand with a friendly smile. Jack, he stammered, shaking Elon's hand. I've heard a lot about you from my mom, Elon began, taking a seat across from Jack. What you did for her, paying for her meal, was a small act, but it speaks volumes about your character. I admire that. Jack felt his cheeks flush. It wasn't a big deal. She deserved it. Elon chuckled. That's where you're wrong. Small acts of kindness often create the biggest ripple effects. But what happened afterward, your firing, that's unacceptable. No one should be punished for doing the right thing. Jack nodded, unsure what to say. Elon leaned forward, his gaze piercing. Let's cut to the chase. I believe in rewarding people who show heart and integrity. So I want to offer you something, a chance to work with us. Not just any job, but one where you can grow, contribute, and be part of something meaningful. Jack's jaw dropped. You're offering me a job? At Tesla? Yes, Elon said, his smile widening. But more than that, I want you to help spearhead a new initiative, a program aimed at giving back to communities. You'll work directly with me and my team. What do you say? For a moment, Jack was too stunned to speak. Finally, he found his voice. I don't know what to say. This is more than I ever imagined. Say yes, Elon said simply, standing up. Jack stood too, his voice steady this time. Yes, thank you, Mr. Musk. Call me Elon, he replied with a wink. As Jack left the building that day, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of a journey that would not only change his life, but also impact countless others. Jack's first few weeks at Tesla were nothing short of transformative. He immersed himself in the new role, working closely with Elon and his team to design a program called Ripple Acts. The initiative aimed to identify and reward individuals across the country who performed small acts of kindness. Just like Jack had done. Elon, true to his word, mentored Jack personally. He admired Jack's humility and insight, often asking for his opinion during brainstorming sessions. Slowly, Jack's confidence grew, and he began to feel at home in a world he once thought was out of his reach. One day, as Jack reviewed a proposal, Elon approached him with a mischievous grin. I have an idea, he said, sliding a document across the table. Jack picked it up, reading the title aloud. Local Heroes Initiative Launch Event? Elon nodded. We're hosting it at your old workplace. That restaurant owner, Mr. Carter, needs a reminder of what real leadership looks like. Jack hesitated. Elon, I'm not sure about this. I don't want to cause trouble. Jack, Elon said, his tone firm but kind, this isn't about revenge. It's about setting an example. Let's show him and others like him how kindness and respect can transform lives. Reluctantly, Jack agreed. The event day arrived, and Tesla's branding transformed the humble restaurant into a grand venue. Cameras, reporters, and community members gathered, buzzing with excitement. Mr. Carter, unaware of the event's purpose, nervously welcomed the high-profile guests. Elon took the stage, speaking passionately about the power of kindness. It's not about grand gestures or flashy headline, he said. Sometimes it's the smallest acts that make the biggest difference. As the audience applauded, Elon motioned for Jack to join him. This is Jack, Elon continued, the man who inspired this initiative. He was fired from this very restaurant for showing compassion. Today, we're here to honor him and others like him. The crowd erupted in cheers as Jack took the microphone, his voice steady despite the nerves. I never thought paying for someone's meal would lead to this, he said, but it's not about me. It's about all of us choosing kindness every day. As the applause died down, Elon took the microphone again, his tone shifting to one of resolution. Mr. Carter, he began, turning to the restaurant owner, who stood at the back of the room, visibly uneasy. You had the chance to reward kindness, but instead you punished it. Today we're giving you an opportunity to be part of something bigger. Mr. Carter cleared his throat, unsure how to respond. I didn't realize, Elon cut him off gently. It's not too late to change. We're offering you a partnership. Tesla will fund a complete makeover of your restaurant on one condition. You agree to host monthly Ripple Axe dinners, where meals are free for those in need, and your staff is trained to value compassion over profit. The crowd murmured in approval, and Mr. Carter, realizing the gravity of the moment, nodded. I'll do it. Thank you for this chance. Jack watched, a mix of emotions swirling inside him. He had never expected such a profound transformation, not just for himself, but for the very place that once let him down. Later that evening, as the event wound down, Jack found himself standing beside Elon. You didn't have to do all this, Jack said, his voice thick with gratitude. Elon smiled. Of course I did. Kindness deserves recognition. And you've become a symbol of what it means to stay true to your values. Jack chuckled softly. I still can't believe any of this is real. Believe it, Elon replied. And remember, this is just the beginning. You've inspired a movement, Jack. Now let's keep it going. Months later, the restaurant, now renamed the Ripple Cafe, became a beacon of hope in the community. People came not just for the food, but for the sense of connection and kindness the place represented. As for Jack, he thrived in his new role at Tesla, spearheading projects that continued to change lives. Yet no matter how far he rose, he never forgot the moment that started it all, a simple act of kindness that led to an extraordinary journey. And through it all, one lesson stood clear. When kindness meets opportunity, miracles happen.